Hello everybody, this is your Doors Extended Warranty. Today is a weird video because the last one was scoffed. Sorry, I don't do video recording edits because why? Also because there are softwares out there I don't care to download to edit videos. Yeah, I get it, sure. But too much effort, you know. I'm not a big enough creator for it to matter at this point in time. If I ever get big enough that I need to edit videos, at that point I will hire an editor, and then I will proceed to bully him like every other creator bullies their editors. Editor, take that out, take it out. But anyways, um, almost a minute of me rambling. So I was clearly absent on Friday because I was handling some stuff with a friend, or trying to handle some stuff with a friend. They lost their parents, so I was out of state. Um, Not explaining all of that stuff. Ugh, and yesterday I was in the world's worst headspace. So I'm going to start doing community posts because I want to do proper streamer stuff where I inform my audience that doesn't basically exist yet what I plan on doing in the future. Um, Realistically, I want to kind of like do regular creator things. I understand getting into the VTuber space is kind of complicated and it's going to be difficult going forward. Scripting videos, I've done one scripted video and it was okay. It wasn't the best. I think writing summaries and or snippets of stuff that I want to explicitly cover is probably going to be better going forward than actually straight scripting videos, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm better at riffing off of other people than I am just yapping, realistically. I have verbal. I know I've discussed this in the past, but I've got verbal quirks where there's certain words or phrases that I repeat while I'm talking, and it's a lot easier to kind of like go off someone else than it is to just talk at a camera. Not great at it, honestly. I'd probably be a better streamer than I would be a YouTuber, but I probably won't do streaming unless I gather enough of an audience that it makes it financially viable. Mostly because streaming takes a lot of time, and that's it would really have to be financially viable. Like I would have to be able to pull in more than like $500 or $600 a day if I was gonna actually do that, because I would have to be able to supplement an entire paycheck, despite the fact that I still plan on making this only part time, and the only way I would make this full time is if it becomes viable to do so. But even then, I would have to keep my prospects open in case this ever like fell through. I am a dude who VTubes. I will never be Hero Hey. I will never be Rev Says Desu. I will never be able to take the place of people like Kirsha or anyone else for that matter. Um, yeah. Anyways, I made the mistake of drinking a triple shot espresso monster energy drink after already having an energy drink earlier this morning. Because I wasn't feeling great today because yesterday was just towards the end, and thus forth, today's energy was like low. And I made the mistake of getting a sugary energy drink when I normally only drink sugar free. Oh, I was vibrating for a little while. It was not pleasant. Anyways, 5 minutes in, we're starting the video, or almost 5 minutes in, we're starting the video. With me yapping a bunch. Everyone else, communist and socialist leaders. If you don't understand this meme as true and real, then you're probably either brainwashed, ignorant, or both. This is the reality of what communism and socialism looks like at the end stages. The leaders are on the right, everyone else is on the left. You do not get over that fence, and oftentimes that fence is patrolled by armed guards with machine guns. And they are the closest thing to a middle class that will ever exist. You won't ever get there. Don't even try. Anyways, enough about that. So today we're talking about patriotism. Specifically, 4th of July has come and gone, and there were a lot of people who have been just very dumb. Specifically, one of the people that I follow on Instagram, whose name will go unmentioned here, because, well, no, that's not your business for my information, for their information, or otherwise. Basically said, yeah, this is 250 years of freedom, and they posted, like, some of the worst images to come out of the United States in history. And I'm like, look, celebrate however you want to, but to only remember America for its flaws is really stupid. And that's actually what this video is about. So here, I'll bring this up. I am partway into a video, and we're about to watch a clip from a guy. So it's reactception, as it were. Mostly because I want to kind of like cover something specific that is said in this video, and it's kind of going to be my jump off point. Yeah, so. Okay, so we're already going to interrupt this because this is a phenomenal, this is a talking point I hear so often. So a lot of people don't like to address why Japan is the way it is. They also don't understand that there is a lot more that goes into that conversation that they are either not willing to talk about, they're not willing to acknowledge, or they're just too stupid to understand. Japan is a phenomenal vacation spot because prior to their importation of a metric crap ton of people from the third world, that they actually are planning to get rid of very soon, to my immediate knowledge, of people who live there and who are familiar with their political class. They're trying to get rid of all of the people that they imported recently because they are extremely not culturally compatible, and their crime rates have actually jumped a lot ever since they imported those people. Despite being one of the safest countries, they are slowly going up on the list of countries on safety. But basically, in this particular regard, oh, excusez-moi, I am dying over here. Japan is 90, I think it's like 96 to 98% ethnically homogenous. I know a lot of people like to pretend that the safety in Japan has nothing to do with that. But one of the things that people don't like to talk about, because it's an uncomfortable reality, is the more ethnically homogenous an area is, the less likely there is to be cultural divides amongst the population. That is just a reality. Japan is ethnically Japanese. The more ethnically homogenous an area is, the more likely they are to have a uniformly common culture. And if the common culture is, sending your kids to school to raise them in a way in which they stay after school and learn to clean up, congratulations. But Japan, like every other country on Earth, has its flaws. If you ever watch a video, which there are a lot, and I will actually do one better. Oh, crap. I hate this. You know what? We're just gonna click Pocket Pair because why not? Firefox is stupid because you don't, for some reason, even with premium, you don't get a proper search bar. We're learning things, guys. Um, the reality of living in Japan as a foreigner. Adapting to Japanese culture. Things I wasn't prepared for when moving to Japan. Prejudice from Japanese people. Rules for life in Japan. Blank thing, what I hate tourists doing in Japan, from a guy who is a very popular Japanese YouTuber. You know, life in Japan as Japanese, living in Japan as a minimalist. You know, there's the cons of living in Japan from a person who's East Asian. You know, the reality why I would not move back to Japan. You know, the funny thing is the grass is always greener on the other side, and the reason that I hate people like Mr. Loveface, Lovelace, is the fact that they are just ignorant to the world. You visit Japan. You don't live in Japan. And that's what I hate about a lot of, like, I think what Westerners, especially those from America, and I normally hate when Europeans talk about this because they're inept in their assessments because they don't understand what the United States is like. And as an American, I will make this assessment because I come from a place of knowing this a bit better than them. The United States is made up of 50 states, each of which has their own culture. Every single state has their own culture. And that had been the case for many years. Unfortunately, due to a bunch of different rich and powerful people and corporations and ignoramuses in our government, they are trying to make the globe global, as it were. Everything is supposed to be uniform across the board, everywhere, always, all the time. We're not going to talk about that. The WEF is a freaking topic for a different day because I am not going to get canceled today. I would very much. I would glow with the fury of 1,000 suns. Bill Gates' topic will happen one day. Regardless. Sorry about that. The perks of recording, but also having a pause button and not remembering what you were talking about. Of course, I'm kidding. Not about the pause button. The pause button is a lifesaver. But yeah, no, there are legitimately like 50 states, each with their own culture. The reality is there's a lot of states that are becoming more homogenous in a culture of adopting socialism, but again, that's another topic as well. WEF is a topic all itself. Bill Gates, all of that stuff is a topic all in and of itself. But the United States is unique in the fact that it's effectively, like, broadly 50 countries in one larger country. Excuse me. Oh God, I am dying over here. Good Lord. Yeah, you're getting all of the fun noises from me that all of the female streamers censor. How dare they? Just kidding. Yeah. The reason that this topic, like, infuriates me, and it's hard to actually keep my cool a lot of the time unless I'm trying to keep a level head, is because it says the US is trash. He's talking about how clean Japan is, but Japan raised people on a culture of cleanliness. The United States, again, is basically 50 separate countries. And you have this individual, probably some ignoramus liberal leftist, who is basically just, I don't know, visiting Japan off and on. And it's like, oh, every country is better than the United States. Really? Really? Are you sure about that? Have you been to Somalia? Have you been to Somaliland? Have you been to Yemen? You know, not in the tourist areas of literally any of these countries, but the inner, like, the cities, the suburbs, the rural side of any of these places at all. No? Then kindly shut the hell up. We're going to continue, but I'm going to... He's going to keep going. Yeah, basically that's finishing his section, and that section of watching this video earlier, I didn't finish the whole video, but I finished that section of the video. Um, People don't understand what it's like to live outside of the United States. They're basically a bunch of people living inside of a gated community, and they don't actually understand how good they have it. I've seen people get angry, and I've actually made content about this at some point, where they talk about how bad America is and how they're only here to make money so that they can move back to their home country of Mexico and buy housing because, you know, American dollars are worth more than money in Mexico, which means our economy is better. But also, what does it say about your country that you can't find work that's good enough, that you have to go to a different country that you hate and is supposedly inferior? And you never hear people answer these questions. But one of the things that I wanted to go back to kind of circle around to, as it were, people don't understand how good the United States is. And they're never willing to look at the better parts of the United States. But they're also never willing to address the elephant in the room for countries that are safer than the United States. One, if you're talking about safety in the United States versus every other country, you're normally talking about New York, Chicago, Detroit, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. All of which are literally run by Democrats. Congratulations, large cities with large homeless populations, most of which do drugs, shoot up in public, and masturbate in front of children. Congratulations, you're talking about supermassive cities where people vote to let it continue happening. Also, fun fact about all of those places, they are also the cities that are most likely to be sanctuary cities and inside of sanctuary states. Which means that you are importing the third world, making those cities more unsafe, generally speaking, and more culturally different than it would be if it was mostly just made up of people who came here and integrated with the intention of assimilating. Except America bad, so they shouldn't have to assimilate. No, instead they should bring their third world values of hating women, diddling minors, and, you know, suppressing everyone who is an infidel and gay. Yeah, that makes total sense. But the reason that I love this video, this little clip right here, is because you can clearly tell, like, he's just this dumb, hippie, neo-lib. And he doesn't understand why Japan is the way it is. He also doesn't understand the L's of living there. One, you don't know what racism is. Now, let me explain for those of you who are too ignorant to know this. Racism in the United States and in the West broadly is something that is frowned upon. And sure, there are definitely people in Japan who also frown on racism. But, here's the thing. You don't understand what racism is because, one, y'all have created a definition of racism that isn't real. The power plus prejudice bullshit version of racism literally was only invented so people could be racist towards whites without being called racist, because that is just the reality of what it is. You dumb Marxist cucks created a definition of racism so y'all couldn't be called racist. That's literally all it is. So that's number one. Number two, you don't know the definition of the term racism, because if casual racism could be turned into competitive racism, the US wouldn't even get a silver medal in that. Because if you're fighting against East Asia in a racism competition, those people are constantly competing for platinum. To refer to it in gamer terms. They are competitive racists. They are not casual racists. But that's the first thing. The second thing is also the fact that um not only are they more racist over there, like legitimately more racist, by like a landslide. Um, they also have a lot of things that would be an impossibility for you to get used to being culturally American, and we are very similar in culture to them in some regards, but in a lot of ways, we are not. One, you do not eat while you are walking. It is seen as disrespectful. Two, Japanese people are generally more quiet and subdued. You do not speak your mind. When you go to work, you do what the boss tells you to. You do not argue. Because seniority at a company, you are to be respectful. If you get mouthy and stupid, guess what? You might not get fired, but you may be forced into doing a job that is so menial, so stupid, and so atrociously bad that it makes you want to quit. Because some companies will not fire you, but they will make you want to quit. Because that is their culture. They still use fax machines for a lot of legal paperwork. And you are expected to be early, to be on time, and that is a absolute expectation. Trash and recycling is heavily socially enforced, and there are a lot of things that you think, oh, those will be easy. There is so much in Japan that you do not understand about their culture, about the people, about how things work over there. And then there's the fact that the cultures change depending on what city and area you live in. They would crucify you. Probably. There are so many Americans who have moved to Japan and have consistently talked about how hard it was transitioning the way that they live from like Western countries or America. I said Americans, I meant Westerners, just broadly speaking. There is so much of a difference. This anti-American sentiment is really stupid because it's based on a microcosm level of understanding of what the West is as an entirety. You have the right to criticize the government in the United States. If you were to move to the UK and frequently criticize the government, they can put you in jail. They actually have, since about 2020, consistently put dissidents against the government in jail for tweets that were, quote, inflammatory hate speech. See, you think you like hate speech, want hate speech laws until they get applied to you. You want fascism? Look at the UK. We spend more on our healthcare than almost any other country, and you get service immediately by going to an emergency room almost instantly. The same cannot be said for the national or the NHS in the UK. The same cannot be said about the Canadian healthcare because you might be able to get looked at, but realistically, they will make your ass wait because other people take priority because the weight of their healthcare system is high. And most doctors would prefer to be privatized or doctors in a private hospital because they can pick and choose their clients and they're going to get paid better than by the government. Because if you go to a regular hospital, they'll just ask if you would prefer to die. And they're trying to expand that to 9 to 16-year-olds who have depression and without their parents' consent, no less. There have been flyers spread out about it, and it's something that they've been ballparking for a little while, even if it's not actually what they are doing currently. Obviously, this video is going to be almost 30 minutes long, so I apologize in advance. My last one that was scripted was like 21 minutes, question mark. But the reason that I bring this guy up is because he is the stereotypical uh, United States trash. He is the trash. And he consistently votes for things, probably, assuming he votes, that actually make the United States worse, and then has the nerve to call the United States as an entirety trash, when realistically, he was in the, like, in freaking some rural city, urban city, where there's homeless everywhere, crime is bad, and he's like, oh, I can't afford anything, the US is so bad, like, man, you don't understand, like, they're shooting up heroin in the streets, like, why can't we just fix homeless? Dude, Japan hasn't even fixed homelessness. Their homeless population has actually grown over the years because of their culture, of which basically says, if you don't succeed, then you are a failure and you are a disgrace to your family. You don't understand the issues that plague every other country because you don't live there. The grass will always be greener on the other side, and people like you will never understand that. Because you are too stupid, too small-minded, and too wrapped up in your own person to look outside. Europeans, during the World Cup, got to experience the actual United States. They went on road trips. They went to small towns. They went to small cities. They went to rural and urban areas outside of the typical New York and California. They weren't just impressed. They were baffled by the kindness and lovingness of the United States. They were walking around small towns that are just as clean as the street that you were bragging about right here. They were this clean, with no homeless. No one just on the side of the road. And they were like, oh my God, this small city, this small town, I can walk around without worrying about getting stabbed or harassed or whatever. And there's these cute little shops with these nice designs for their, like, city buildings. They got to experience the United States they'd never seen before, because all they ever hear is the negativity of people like you shitting on the country because of your experiences in god-awful cities because of policies and people you personally vote for. It's astounding to me that, like, neoliberal trash pandas, that's being nice because I actually like raccoons, but I hate these people, will vote in for the worst people, for the worst policies, and they will literally whine and complain when nothing good happens. And it's like, brother, you literally voted for this. And it's like, no, I didn't. I voted for, like, healthcare, man. I voted for, like, workers' rights, man. And it's like, no, you didn't. You voted for people who baited you in with honeyed words. You believed that they actually gave a damn about you. And when they literally robbed the fucking cookie jar and ran away and enriched themselves, you kept falling for it. And they just kept moving further left with their verbiage and whatnot. You continued to believe them, and you continued to get robbed blind with your communities getting more expensive to live in, and no one actually being better off for it, except for those political people and the companies that are backing them. And you keep voting for them. Maybe move to a small town. Move to a farm. Go, you literally buy a ranch and do stuff there. I get so sick of people who live in the United States who've never traveled to a small town. They've never traveled to a small city. They've never experienced life in any other state other than their own. Or they only go from like New York to California to Florida. And it's like if you move to a small town in Florida, those people will be probably some of the nicest people you'll ever meet, but you'll hate them because they're Republican, because they're conservative, because they're moderate, because they're not socialist enough for you. This guy is everything wrong with America, everything wrong with the West, and it's unfortunate that those people like that keep moving to Japan, because they are eventually going to have some amount of social and political power in Japan, and they are going to turn Japan into the UK, into Canada, into the worst parts of all of the places that they came from. Because they're morons. They have no introspection. They're first order thinkers. They cannot fathom to themselves being wrong about literally anything. It's like, look how clean this place is. Yeah, and do you want to know what their suicide rate looks like? You want to go out and look at their homeless population? Because they're a bunch of aggressive assholes. And they like to sexually harass people. Not all of them, obviously, but quite a few. They also have a prostitution problem. But you're a liberal. You're probably fine with that, except for the fact that it's illegal in Japan, and there's a little bit of gray area that protects some of the people. Others get arrested. And Japanese prisons are not kind. You think American prisons are bad. I've been an officer in one of those prisons in the United States. Not as bad as you would think, and actually significantly more privileged than a lot of people understand, and very much not as penalizing as it should be, in my personal opinion. But that's a topic for a different day. I'm going to not make this video 35 minutes long, but this is the point. If you want to remember the United States for all of the worst thing that's ever happened to it, kindly take a second, put your fist, ball up your fingers, and swing it directly at your face as hard as you can. You are what's wrong with this country. And I'm not saying that from the standpoint of somebody who is on the right, because I'm not. I'm left of center libertarian. And every day you people make me want to be less libertarian. Because if we took and stripped your citizenship and shipped you to the socialist country of your dreams, hashtag North Korea, America would flourish. But, to get to my broader point, because this video is going to be 35 minutes long, every country has its skeletons. Some has more than others. There are Middle Eastern countries, a lot of them actually, that still have African slaves. Black African slaves. You know who ever talks about it? Literally no one, except for people who are in the middle and on the right. And then we're told by several people that, oh, their slavery is okay because it's more akin to having a family. Ignore the fact that they mistreat the shit out of them and they castrate the men and rape the women. Ignore that. Don't even consider that. Ignore the fact that they get put to death if they don't convert to Islam while being slaves. Don't talk about that. Nobody actually. It's I can't see anything. I can't see. Covering my eyes. I can't see. Women are raped in Africa frequently. People are killed in tribal warfare in Africa frequently. People are dying of malnutrition in Africa frequently. People are literally getting raped, murdered, and tortured in Middle Eastern countries, in South American countries, in Mexico, across our own border right next to us. And you think that the United States is the worst country in the world. You think the United States is trash. Take your head out of your ass for 5 minutes, take a breath of fresh air, and understand you live in one of the, if not the most free nation on earth. You have no idea how made you have it because you've never had to live in these countries where they charge you an asinine amount in taxes. How it ends up being impossible to get a doctor or see a doctor for months at a time, sometimes years depending on where you live. Every country has its skeletons. Every country has things that make it bad or make it just eh. And I am sick and tired of seeing every single person get on their high horse and call a country that literally went out of its way to almost single-handedly dismantle the East India Trading Company when it came to, or sorry, the transatlantic slave trade, if I remember the name correctly. Yeah, no, our Navy patrolled the ocean trying to stop slave trade after we ended it in our country. Our Navy is phenomenal. We still patrol the oceans with our boats to stop piracy of Somali pirates, etc., and other groups that would otherwise take cargo ships hostage. You don't know how made you have it. You don't know a damn thing about this country. And the only thing that you got from your bullshit, fake college-educated nonsense gender studies degree was how to be an annoying little Marxist shit. America didn't start slavery. We did a damn good job ending it, not just for us, but across the ocean. And there's still slavery in the Middle East. No one talks about it. No one mentions it. No one brings it up. No, it's only just America bad. I hope everyone had a wonderful 4th of July. And to all of the patriots out there, I wish you the best. To all of you stupid, ignorant morons out there who think that this country is the worst place on earth, get the fuck out. You'll learn just how fast, you'll learn very quickly how made you had it in the United States. Oh, I can just get money and easier jobs in the United States. Yeah. It's called having a decent economy. And it's part of what makes a country good and or bad. You moron. I'm going to make this video freaking 40 minutes long, going on an angry tangent. But no, I'm not going to do that. Stop shitting on this country. Learn more about all the other countries that you claim are so much better, because it's very clear you don't know jack shit about any of these places if you think every other country is better than the United States. And it's clear you've never been out of your stupid freaking, like, hippie shack in one of your super populated metros. Talk about being blind. Anyways, this has been your Torador's Extended Warranty. Going back to the opening image because I would prefer that over looking at somebody else's POV of a country that they want to destroy. Until next time.